Previously on the Chris Henson Conversation. Also on frequency and harmonics. I mean, there's this thing called HAARP.
Yes.
And HAARP.
It's in 3 places on the planet right now.
No, it's in Alaska, isn't it?
Alaska is one. The other is in the Antarctic. And there's one more in a desert.
In the Antarctic?
Yeah. HAARP. Vast arrays of small towers sending signals. They're saying they're picking up SETI signals, right? But they're not. They can also transmit. And they do transmit. The latest Antarctica one was responsible for the earthquakes around Christchurch and what have you, and so on and so forth.
You mean the tsunami in Japan and the one in New Zealand as well?
I don't know.
So I don't you're saying that HAARP is weaponized?
I know it's weaponized, but that's all I know. Is it's weaponized. Weather control is weaponized. You take a look at some of the fires that are being caused here and there. I mean, you see lasers in the background.
The one in Hawaii, you mean? Maui.
Hawaii as well, but there's a whole bigger picture there. You need to take a look at the bigger picture and follow the money. Who's buying up the land after it's burnt up?
Well, and then people like Oprah. You're shitting me, man. Come on.
No, I mean, you take a look and you'd be surprised what they're using that whole thing for.
The one name that caught me was Oprah Winfrey.
Yeah, together with Dwayne Johnson. I've seen all of that.
The Rock?
Yeah, The Rock. But anyway, the point is not the personalities involved. Just follow the money and you begin to see what's happening on a global scale. Take a look at what's happening with Ukraine as well. And look, a clown, a comedian becomes president.
Yeah.
This sounds a lot like, okay, what skills did this guy have? And Ukraine is the money laundering capital of the United States and many other places in the world. That's where you go to clean your money. Disappears in all these weapon systems. And come on, are you serious? Yeah, look, I can't go into too much detail because it's none of my business. I'm not interested in taking away your livelihood or what you put in the laundry. But my job is just to serve humanity with whatever I can.
Okay, no, what you said was interesting enough already, man.
When you say the reverse technology of beyond Roswell, beyond Colonel Cosgrove, and all of these things and all of that,
right.
If you take a look at what they have right now that's flying in the skies and the technology is at here, my technology is here. It's base level.
Okay.
Now, if I can teach people base level stuff and give them base level stuff, achieving the leap from this technology to that is very easy. The Byfield-Brown effect, together with the technology I'm using, gyroscopic vortices, the leap is unreal. Even take a look at what they're studying and still have no answers to in the, what's that History Channel program on Skinwalker Ranch.
Oh, Skinwalker Ranch.
Are you familiar with all that?
Yeah, of course. Oh, yes. You talk about this on this program all the time.
Yeah, but I'm not interested in the hoo-ha and, oh, it's scary. Oh, yeah. I can't sleep at night. Ha, ha, ha. I'm interested in the technology. What are you using to measure? And what are you measuring? What are you seeing? What is the curvature of what you're doing? And how do you map out what is underground and what's overground? And how do you generate that?
Right. So
that's my interest in.
Is their research basically what they use for their research?
Correct.
Right? Whether or not these things would be the right.
What is the data?
Equipment to use to get the data you're reporting.
I want the data.
Right.
And you only see what is exciting. You don't see the data and where it points.
Well,
same with everything. I'm not doing it because I'm interested in it's so interesting and da. How does it work? If a ghost walk into this place and everybody goes, it's my father, it's my this, it's my that. The mind sees what it wants to see. Okay, you can hallucinate.
That's a Dr. Mel Gill I see and hear all the time on TV.
You are a hypnotist, right? Clinical hypnotist. You know this. I can create a negative hallucination, which means that I can tell you that your editor does not exist. No matter how much you look, you won't find him when you wake up. Boom, 1, 2, 3, you wake up. where the hell is this guy? Holy crap. And he's standing right in front of you. And that's a negative hallucination. Now, what's a positive hallucination? Well, when you walk out this door, you're going to see pink elephants all about this size running all over the place. What the hell? So on and so forth. So the mind is so powerful that you can generate an image and it will become real of somebody that passed on. Somebody that moved over, or the place itself.
Right.
Now, the physics of the place can generate waves, standing waves that we're talking about, in certain resonant frequencies. And this is what Ghostbusters and people like me do. We come into a place that has quote unquote negative energy. We set off a certain frequency either through sounds, through chants, through machines.
Yep.
And we dissipate it. It's gone. What are we, Ghostbusters? Okay, you can use that language if you like. But if you, like I said about the technology, if you begin to realize how to use them, then nothing becomes magical anymore. Everything can be explained with technology. What about a God force? Well, what is that? Well, there's a part of our brain, that is responsible for an interconnectedness with something divine. It's built into our genetic structure. There is a gene, a God gene, that's been turned on and capped so it doesn't die like all the other chromosomes that die in you, that actually responds to something, quote unquote, higher than us.
Okay.
And we tend to want to worship something higher than us. I don't have that gene. I don't.
Evidently.
Yeah, because what you see as quote unquote God is a summation of your entire life and experiences and everything that points towards, by anecdote, a reality that you will cling to because it's the meaning to your life. If I took that meaning away, you'll have nothing. You'll collapse and you go, what the hell have I been believing? And what the fuck is all this?
I know where you're going with this, Doc.
Yeah, but so my job is not to take it away. If you believe that this cup is going to send you to heaven, I'll say,
okay,
fantastic. Do whatever. I'll sing with you your hymns. Oh, holy cup of da runneth over. I'll help you. And then I'll walk away and I probably won't come back.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Sorry.
I am staunchly Catholic, but never mind.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
No. Don't apologize. I mean, I'm not rattled.
I apologize to this guy here.
My faith doesn't change because of this. Come on.
My faith doesn't change because of this.
Of course not.
Yeah.
It's going to be very hard to explain, but I'm keeping the show secular anyway.
Okay.
And I always do my best to keep the show secular, but at least I can say is that I'm staunchly Catholic, and that's cool, Doc. You know what you said? I can understand where you're coming from as well.
Chris, my job on this earth, if you are Catholic, to make you a better Catholic.
I am,
if you are Buddhist, to make you a better Buddhist.
Mm-hmm.
If you are Muslim, to make you a better Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
If you are, am I missing out anybody? A Hindu. If you're a Hindu, to make you a better Hindu.
Yeah. Zoroastrian as well. Yeah.
If you believe in Zorro, yes. Yeah, sure. That would be great. Makes no difference.
Good bloody one. Yeah. Zoroastrianism, man.
Yeah.
Came from the Sumerians, right?
Yes, maybe the original religion.
Okay, let me sum this up. It's 2 hours, man. It's been 2 hours.
Oh, it's been 2 hours?
Oh, it has. It
doesn't feel like 2 hours.
Yeah, I know. It happens all the time, man. Everyone says that to me. Has it really been that long?
Yeah, that's your talent. That's your ability.
I think so. Being Mr. Nice Guy.
Yeah, you know what we should do? Do you drink beer or something?
No, I don't drink beer.
What do you drink? No alcohol.
I can call myself a teetotaler, but I do have the...
I don't drink also.
Yeah.
We should have coffee.
We can.
Beer.
No problem.
Let's have coffee with Chris.
Sure. that's the name of the last show.
Oh, is that what it was called?
The last show that didn't belong to me was called Kopi with Chris.
No.
Yes, really.
Okay. Chris over coffee. We should get that in there somewhere and then serve coffee, for God's sake.
I did ask you whether you would like coffee. You asked for water, Doc. Hello.
I didn't know it was going to be 2 hours.
You're the one that's ADHD now.
Sorry.
No, it's cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, Doc, thanks so very much for being on the show, man.
Hey, my pleasure.
Really, and just to sum this up just a little bit. So the next thing for Dr. Mel Gill is, of course, to get the Dr. Mel Gill Foundation going with your craft and
there's more
that sunken city.
Well, the foundation is already active. We have trained a lot of teachers to go back into poor communities. We train them with super learning technologies, and they go back into their villages and what have you. And they train their students to go from E and F to A students. Things that in Singapore people pay thousands of dollars for their kids, we do it for nothing, for free. So that's what the foundation has been doing and sustaining. That's been the main thrust of what we're doing. Everything else is all research based, except for one or two actual things we're working with desalination plants. Right now we're using solar and concentrated form of solar, which is a little bit different from the regular solar that people use.
Right.
And it's in a closed system. And we're trying to solve the problem of sludge, the saline sludge that comes out from that. We are working, and the research part is where we're working on extracting from that sludge salt and separating it from at least 40 minerals that can be used in technology. So we have ionic plates and put it in this and that, and we're trying to separate that. So we're not 100% there, but I think give us another 2 years. That technology should be such that we should be able to do that. And if my other technology works, then the electricity to run it is no longer solar, but that.
Right.
Yeah. And so everybody on the
there's
planet,
some form of correlation somewhere.
For now,
316 help.
It's piggybacking. The research is piggybacking on other research and so on and so forth. So that's what we're doing.
And what's going to happen to the sunken city in the Black Sea, man?
We don't have the resources to go after it.
Oh, come on.
No, 1.5 kilometers is a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And the craft that you need, we'll have to borrow from that billionaire who got crushed. No, that's a bad joke. I won't even go. Yeah. Sorry, I went there. No offense to billionaires out there, but you're stupid to cut corners. But there's no ROI. There's no payback in that for us and for humanity at large. Yes, it's an interesting thing. And yes, we found maybe about 3, 4, 5 pyramids already under the water there in the Black Sea. And we also have proven beyond a shadow of a doubt with historical texts and writings in Bulgarian that at one point, 70-something thousand years ago, the Black Sea was once fresh water. And because of the rift, a huge earth-moving event, the Bosphorus Sea.
The pole shift,
the pole shift. And the whole Bosphorus Straits Canal was created. And so the Mediterranean rushed in and filled it. And so when you measure the salinity of the water in the Black Sea, it's brackish, but it's not the same as the concentrations you find in the Mediterranean.
So this pole shift thing is nothing to do with the theory of the Younger Dryas.
The what?
The theory of the Younger Dryas.
Younger Dryas?
That epoch in time, that it is theorized that we were hit by multiple fragments of a comet and that we entered into a sort of a mass extinction event that saw the Earth's temperature plummet, and then most of the population died. And then after that, civilization came back again, and hence Göbekli Tepe was built. That was Graham Hancock's theory. But if you're saying pole shift and all that, it seems to go way beyond.
Was it Graham? Why would Graham Hancock say that?
He did. Younger Dryas. He talks about it all the time.
You see, There is another fellow. If you get his books, you get that theory there. Immanuel Velikovsky wrote a whole bunch of books, one of which he's famous for is called Planets in Collision, or Worlds in Collision, I think it was called. And in that, he outlined that theory about pole shifts and how it happens and so on and so forth. And at one point in our history, we didn't have a moon. Apparently. And all of historical texts that go back more than 100,000 years ago seem to suggest that. And so that begs the question, what is the moon and where does it come from and so on and so forth?
It's artificial, man.
Then you talk about...
It's fucking artificial, man, dog. Come on.
Then I want to ask about the propulsion systems, and I want to ask about the materials. I want to know how it works.
Because when NASA dropped one of the lunar modules, I think, onto the moon as it took off.
It was a nuclear device.
Was it a nuclear device?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
No, at first it was the dropping of the module, they say.
Yeah.
But it was a nuclear device.
And the moon rang like a bell.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Why would they fucking drop a nuclear device on the moon?
To see what would happen.
What?
Yeah.
Are you freaking nuts or what?
Look it up.
No, I've been looking it up. I never heard about a nuclear device. I've only heard about...
Just look it up.
About the lunar module. They dropped
nuclear bomb on the moon. Boom. Just that.
Holy shit.
Yes, holy shit is great. Yeah.
Fuck that. Okay. I've always read about the limb being dropped. They call it the limb, right? The lunar module. And just to see how, what will happen. To test the seismic waves on what's going to happen with the moon.
They already knew.
And it rang.
Yeah. For
a long time, it rang like the moon's hollow.
Right. The theory about every 12,000 years, we have a polar shift.
Yeah.
Accompanied or not accompanied by massive tectonic shifts, we don't know. But historical records seem to suggest that most countries are not where they were more than 12,000 years ago.
Right.
That things have shifted.
Yeah.
And when you take a look at ancient civilizations, right? Let's say there was a far more advanced nation that used pyramids not as tombs but as energy devices. Because when I studied the pyramids and what it had, I had constructed pyramids in my home and put milk into one and milk outside to see if it would work, and you align it north-south, all that nonsense. Yep. It's true. The milk turned into yogurt that was inside the pyramid. The one outside rotted away, and you'll find fungus and all these other things. And I repeated that several times to see if it works.
Oh, boy.
The only person that had a patent on the pyramid was a Czechoslovakian guy named Max Durbel. And Max Durbel patented the pyramid shape for a shaver. Each Czech Republic person soldier was issued a single razor blade to save money. And every time they finished, they would put it under the pyramid and it would sharpen. The blade would sharpen by itself. And the next morning, they'll have a sharp one.
No way.
There's a patent for it. Max Durbel. Look it up. Durbal. Now, when I studied all of this, I figured out that there must be something more at work. If there's an energy field, will it work if I hung it? You see, because I hung it in a vacuum. In those days, I could get bell jars. I don't know where. And I created a vacuum with these pumps, right?
Right.
I think it was penis enlargement pumps. I'm not sure, but we used the same the same pumps. Anyway, the point was we hung it, and when we started to move that pyramid that we hung, that we made out of wood and then paper and then metal, the metal didn't work so well. The wood and paper were much easier to manipulate and work with, but paper was best. I don't know why. Very thick. The stuff you make cards from, that kind of paper, man. Right?
Okay.
And we found that the pyramid would align itself on a string to north-south. Now, wait a minute, that's a force at work. What is that force? So I conjecture that the first person to discover what that force is and it's the nature of that force and how to utilize it will win the Nobel Prize, because it's a new form of we cannot be so conceited to think we know everything now. We don't really. Yeah. And there's a new kind of energy that may have been used by these ancient civilizations. But when the tectonic shift occurred along with the pole shift, well, all of that technology will be gone. Now think of what will happen now. For instance, right? Say the North Pole becomes the South, South becomes the North. As it is, they're moving about, is it 3 feet a year?
Yeah, something like that.
The North Pole already.
Something like that, yeah.
And soon the North Pole will be somewhere near New Zealand.
Yeah.
And the South Pole will be there. They'll all be topsy-turvy. And everything we ever knew, all the technology now becomes useless.
Yeah.
You know, everything we're building underground here in this, you know, and all of that, gone.
Gone. Yeah.
So now the survivors, let's say a fraction of Earth survives, 100,000, 500,000 people. Now they're going to have to start fires with flints because matches don't work anymore. They're no longer there.
We'll go back to even worse to the Dark Ages, man.
We're going back to the Dark Ages, and we're going to start again, and we're going to reinvent everything.
Yeah, and then we're going to have amnesia again.
Exactly. And we're finding out in the old Sumerian text that Pythagoras' theorem was discovered more than 12,000 years before Pythagoras. So, hello, these are in the Sumerian text. So, are we discovering new things or rediscovering what we knew once?
Yeah.
And so maybe the part of us in history that was not allowed to grow was the part where these new technologies given to us by the quote unquote gods in those days, and agriculture, obviously not on Earth, given to us by God knows what, and so on and so forth. Is it possible that there are groups that are suppressing these technologies because they want to make money?
Yep.
Imagine if Tesla was allowed with his Cliff towers to be able to send electricity to another part of the world. Now, all of us would have free energy instead of charging into little plugs with our wires.
End up paying for it too.
Right. And who are the mega billionaires that made money off the copper that was produced, all the steel that was produced, all these other
tungsten
and other metals that were produced and so on and so forth, just to make so much obscene money and make everybody so impoverished that they wouldn't be able to afford it. And all that is what I'm trying to do, is to change the balance of that. So that now my way of eradicating poverty in the world is to teach people how to become entrepreneurs, sell something. And
give the Nobel Prize to the man who invented the penis enlargement pump. Okay.
I thought it was a woman that did that.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, she was not satisfied with what was out there. So she invented it. And you should see the first one. Her husband said, no, it'll never happen. So, oh, wow. My brain went into a different direction just
Very
now.
much so, yeah.
Woo! So coming back to the technology, right? Imagine if I were successful.
Yeah.
I teach people to become entrepreneurs, sell a product, a service, yours or somebody else's, your product or somebody else's product, or knowledge in the world. And that's how you will make your money. You are selling a service, and that service is to turn people's so-so voices, mediocre voices, into powerful, resonating voices like yours. When you succeed in doing that on scale, you become a multimillionaire. Here's the easiest way to make money. And everybody want to know how to make money now. Here's the way. Put your knowledge into a course and sell that course for $200. $200, that's not much. $200 for a course, online course, maybe 6 hours, 8 hours. Sell that course to 5,000 people. Can you find 5,000 people? Well, come on this podcast. There are 5,000 people or more listening to this right now. What's $200 times 5,000? That's $1 million right there. Easiest way? Yes. So that when you can pay your rent and you can pay for your food, then you don't have to worry about these things and go get a 9-to-5 job where people have bought your time away from your family and away from the things you love. Corporates are doing that. You become you go to school. Yes. What are you studying for? You're studying to become a highly paid slave to a company. Highly paid, maybe 10, 15,000 a month. Yeah, but they bought your time. And then you retire at 40, 50, 60, and you find that you don't even have enough in the bank. Somebody's doling it out to you. And my God, is that the way to live? No, you don't have much time on earth. We all don't. We're going to die. That's without a doubt. You don't have much time. So, but people are acting like they do. They're going out and having coffee and doing this and doing the regular stuff. And the next day they wake up and repeat the same thing. How about we all come together and contribute to something that changes humanity as a whole, so that what you leave behind is a planet that's a lot better than when you found it. So
Here.
that's what I'm trying to do.
Here.
And you're doing the same. And with this podcast, I salute you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I gave up on my Facebook thing. This is too much work. I don't know what it was, and I just dived into everything else I was doing.
Well, I followed you on your Facebook, and I knew exactly that where you were in Varna, your lovely house there. Yeah, I know. And it's always been interesting reading about your time in Varna, when you were posting. Anyways,
I'll tell you one story.
Okay, Doc.
So I was called to Varna to do a seminar. So I said I will, and I did my meta secret thing. And then another person called me, who is now my best friend forever, Maria Eleva. She's an organizer for seminars for gurus, quote unquote. I was a quote unquote guru. So I tried to cure people of that, by using bad words and what have you. And they said, no, this doesn't sound like a guru. I don't think I'll follow him. I said, she'll follow me. I'll show you a hole you can drop into. So she said, after the seminar, she said, come, I want you to touch the Black Sea, bless it for us. Because they thought I had these extraordinary abilities, which Chris, which I do. No, I do, but I can't even begin to tell you about that. But anyway, I had a near-death experience, and so when I came back with some gifts, and those were one of the gifts. So I put my feet in the water, and straight away, I rolled up my pants, and the water came up to my shins, and I said, I've been here before, and that's what I told her. I've been here before, and she said, what do you mean? You came to Varna to do seminars before? I said, no, and I gave her a date. 70,000 years ago, I was here. I don't know how I know this. I know this, but my house was south somewhere. So a large group of followers, seminar followers, I'm talking about 15 of them, got together. Said, Mel Gill said he was here before in a past life. So they assumed it was past life. I have to assume that as well. So they got a map, and I pointed out to where I was in a place called Primorsko at that particular location. My house is there.
Okay.
Right there. And it's next to a town called Sozopol. I don't know what it was. So the very next day, 3 cars in a convoy went to the south, 170 kilometers south towards the Turkish border. And they said, where is it? I said, I'm so sorry, guys, about your car. I'm going to apologize ahead of time, but we need to go to the water because my house is near the water. And I said, describe it. They said, well, there's a rock down here. I used to sit on the rock to watch the ships go into the town nearby. And then there's a little curve up, and there's a bay sort of thing where some of my goats, apparently I had goats. We could tell so many jokes about that. And my house was above there. It's a whole different story. And I was describing in absolute detail because while watching the world, I was seeing something. And these abilities don't usually come out until I have a particular need. Like, say, for instance, when we were shooting some of the Incredible Tales things, you can feel, you can see, you know what's there. I know what's there. I can see. So see dead people, I try to avoid that because that involves conversations and so on and so forth. They're all loopy conversations. But anyway, long story short, we went down and the cars had to go through the jungle. There was a trail, fortunately. So cars were being scraped by bushes. Mel, we're going to kill you. My God, where the hell are you leading us? About 30 minutes later, we come out to the open field. I start bawling. I start crying. I see the whole place, and I'm just like a baby crying. It's never happened before. And so I walk out, and I walk down this trail, whatever you call it, trail, and saw the rock and said, that's the rock. I said, yeah. I sat on that rock, Chris, and for the first time closed my eyes, and I saw me then as a Thracian warrior. And I look like Obelix, for Asterix and Obelix.
Yeah.
I look exactly like Obelix with the red beard, ugly as fuck. I'm not even good looking fellow, but just there. And I sat there, very simple mind. And then the connection was made that person and I here are the same person, the same soul. You were never born. You never died. You're just taking up different forms. That revelation just opened up a whole bunch of stuff. And then, of course, all these followers were sitting down and they were saying, oh, yes, I was your son. And then I was your daughter. And I was your thing. I said, no, you were my favorite goat. I loved working with you. And I said, shut the fuck up. I'm just trying to have a moment. And they wouldn't let me have my moment. And then some of them were rushing up the hill. Oh, look, Mel described this bay up here that everybody was going to. And they went up and they found a foundation, which is a huge rock.
Right,
and I told them there's another foundation in front, and they found that other foundation. That was where we had the swing. My wife and I, or goat and I'm not sure, were watching the ships go down. And I showed them where, I told Maria only, where I buried some weapons and money and stuff. And this you may have to cut off some of it. We found them later in another trip. Yes, I knew exactly where I put them.
You found them?
Next to the house. I knew where it was. I knew exactly. And we found the stones of a remnant of a house that's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years old. Oh, no, I mean years old. And so that obviously is the house. And something else extraordinary happened was the person. Wow, this is emotional.
Take your time.
I can't get through this.
Take your time, Doc.
Shit. I need water.
There's no more water, huh?
There's no more water. So sorry.
Hey, Kai, if you don't mind.
If you don't mind. Something stronger, maybe.
Something stronger?
No,
really?
water. I'm just kidding. Stronger water. The person that I was having some difficulties with was there and had died. And so came back, and I had to deal with this particular person. And my God, suddenly I understood the nature of what was happening and the difficulties that were taking place. I understood then. And then slowly I expanded this ability to be able to see relationships. And I found that I was able to tell relationships between people. I was able to tell if I'm sitting here to know what your karmic bond is and just find out. And I don't talk about it a lot. And see, in line with everything else, I'm going to talk about it now. Mm-hmm. I don't tell a lot of people because there'll be a long line outside my door saying, touch me, heal me, da, 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 da. And you can't, some things are meant to be. So it gave me an ability to be able to recognize that the veracity of what I found. They said, you saw ships going to the town. I said, yeah, the town you call Sozopol was not called Sozopol. It was starting with A. At that time, I think it's something to do with Apollo, the god Apollo. And
that's Greek.
Said, Greek. And the Greek influence was much earlier than you and I had presumed. And they said, yeah, the old name for Sozopol is Apollonia.
Ah. Prince in the Revolution, man, Purple Rain, Apollonia, man.
Yeah, Apollonia, yeah. Well, Apollonia was the old name. And I said, yeah, Apollonia sounds right. That's where we were. Mm-hmm. And whoever died then, came back from Apollonia into Singapore at that point. So when we live on Earth, everything that we see that we think is important is not important. Everything that we feel is real is not real. What is real is what is inside of you, inside of each and every one of you, that survives this body, that survives your circumstance. And so that made my counseling and my radio and everything I did more poignant, more important, that whoever comes to me, I will help as much as possible. So in the last 10 years that I've been doing this, I never charged anybody anything. Zero. The only thing I do is seminars, like, okay, come pay for the seminars because, my children have bad habits like eating and paying rent. So I got to take care of those things. But I don't hoard things. In fact, I've been funding my foundation since that time of that billionaire,
right?
Myself. And if you look at my foundation page, there's nowhere to collect money. Nowhere. I do it myself. Everything I earn, everything I do goes into literally the foundation. I keep less than 10% to pay for bills and coffee, so on and so forth. So my message to everybody is, you were never born and you will never die. That you go on, and whatever you leave behind, you cannot choose the exit for, when you leave this place. I've seen so many of my cousin, who was 3 years younger than I was, die suddenly in his sleep 2 weeks ago. My father, one of the best athletes of Singapore, Olympian, Singapore's oldest Olympian, wanted to live to 100. Made it to 96. I thought that was good.
Yeah.
You don't know when is your time. The taxi driver who died in the middle of the road, a few weeks ago, driving too fast for some reason. People across the road who died, and you think they died too young, but my God, who's to say? So if you wake up tomorrow, your 9 to 5 is not that important. Your house that you build, that you pay for, is not important. In fact, you don't even own it in reality, but that's a whole different thing. I'll put in jail if I explain that. But you own nothing. You own absolutely nothing. So that's why I do what I do. Pushing humanity forward. Tesla died. Poverty-ridden. I might end up the same way. I don't know. But my friend is starting an academy with a lot of psychology courses and stuff. So I'm fortunate enough to be asked to create some of them for him. So I did. And so maybe that might bring in something. But all in all, I begin to realize that if you have an opportunity to sit with me, I'm going to show you the side of you that lives forever, and that you're going to feel unsettled and you're going to wish you never met me. Because I'll ask, what the fuck are you doing? You're sitting down, you're literally going through life, masturbating through everything and not paying attention to what needs to be paid attention to, the people around you. Because you will see again, but at some point, anything you can do for them, you carry forward into your next, the other side, with blessings and thanks of the people you've helped. When I had my near-death experience, because I lost my arm in a mountain climbing accident, 18, 19 years old, I was dead for 20 minutes, right? So they revived me, and no brain damage, but maybe there was. That's why I studied psychology. I have no idea. Came back with some gifts, but when I was on the other side, there were so many experiences, and I'll write about them later. But one I want to tell everybody, and maybe close the show on, is that the being of light that was there with a bluish color robe and long hair looked like Jesus Christ, but could have been the lead singer from Kiss. I'm not sure. But at that time, that was my training, being raised in a Methodist school. This is what I was taught to expect and believe. And the being said, son, it's not yet time. You have to go back. And I argued with the being. I said, well, if I have to go back, do you mind if I just take a look around and see what's here? Actually, I thought I was tricking him. He said, okay. He just went, let me go. Now, that person, if you're my classmate listening to this, died. If you're my mother listening to this, that's not your son anymore. He didn't come back. He chose to stay. He didn't want to come back. He didn't want to come back living a life with one arm. He couldn't take it. So I volunteered, whoever I was, and that's a whole nother program. I know who exactly that person is, took over and said, I'll come back. And along with that came another force. And that's another program. And so I came back and which we're talking technology. This is like taking leaps and bounds into an area that we're talking about demigods and da-da-da-da-da. Do they exist and how do they exist and in what capacity and what kind of resonant state is that? Can I bring it forward? Yes. Can I talk about it? Yes. Can I give you answers that you want? Yes. But I don't do it because it's like a circus show, for what? It ultimately is no purpose. Yeah. So what if you know your future? What are you going to do about it? I can tell you your future right now, you're going to die. That's it. Nothing. I'm going to earn $1 million and put it in the bank. Yeah. Then what? But then I'm going to relax. Then what? I'm going to relax until I die. Well, yes, exactly. What the hell? Help as many people as possible. So when I came back with the understanding of this first event that happened when I went over, because I was greeted by some other being, angel, I don't know what you want to call it, no wings though. It said, there's a hall of memories. You want to go in there and take a look? I said, what the hell is a hall of memories? And she, because I couldn't tell, he or she, hall of memories is where you remember everything that happened in your life, right? Yeah,
everyone says
I said, sure, I wanted to do that. Let's do that. And I walked in, there were no doors, and I don't know how the hell I got into it, but I did. And I sat down in a very comfortable wooden bench. I don't know how to explain it also. And I just sat there and I watched everything, and it was in 3D. I mean, like I had goggles on, but not. And I remember when I was in school, in this one guy was hitting me in the back of my head a lot during class, and he kept stealing my pocket money and everything else. And sometimes I'll have nothing. And I found an opportunity during recess. He was at the top of these stairs to push him down. And I did. And mind you, this is a little kid, right? Just pushing him down. I think I was barely 8, 9 years old. Pushed the guy down. He fell, dum, 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 dum. And, in the Hall of Memories, I not only saw that, I felt it from his perspective. I felt every hit, you
felt the pain,
and with that warm gush of blood, I felt that warm gush of blood, and the embarrassment that happened when everybody laughed, because kids are cruel. This is entertainment for them, and so the embarrassment and something else happened. There was a brain damage from the fall. And so he was scheduled to become, I saw the timeline, he was scheduled to become a doctor, but he became a preacher instead. I won't mention his name because he's still alive, he's still on earth, and you might get angry with the fact that I pushed him. But anyway, I'm telling the story for the first time. So it changed because of that inability to remember, do whatever, and he chose this preacher thing. And he's still a preacher right now in a church here. And is that for the good or bad? Not my place to say. But the point is, I altered somebody's timeline as a child. Now, flash forward to secondary 2. I'm coming home, and there's an Indian woman sitting on the side on a cloth or something like that, or maybe one of her clothing. And she didn't look up at me, and I took up all the change I had, which was, a bunch of coins. In those days, a bunch of coins were rich. Yep. You had a lot of money. So I gave it all to her, and I started to walk away, thinking, I'm going to go to heaven. This is what they taught us in school. You do good and you go there. And then she picked it up and threw it at me, the coins. Mm-hmm. I was shocked. And I started picking up the coins, and I walked away, showing her the finger, and said, fuck off, then you don't want this. And as I walked away, I felt an urge, and I turned around. It was such a powerful urge. I turned around and went to the chicken rice shop. And in those days, they sell chicken rice and put it in this paper. Yep, they wrapped up this brown paper, right? Put it in that paper with all the fixings and everything. And I brought it, and I, carefully put it in front of her in case, And I don't know why I did that. She just threw money at me, and it could hurt me with the chicken rice. I mean, I have to wash my uniform all over again. So gave it to her, and she never looked at me, just opened it, started eating straight away. No clean hands, nothing, just washed and started eating. Looked like she hadn't showered for weeks, Smelled like that too. So I walked away thinking, okay, for sure, I'm going to go to heaven. Now, in the Hall of Memories, I heard her speak in her mind.
Right.
I am not a beggar. Threw it at me. Like, well, okay, she was not a beggar. She didn't want my money. And when I put the chicken rice down, she kept saying in her mind, thank you, thank you, thank you. She hadn't eaten for days and she was living off the street. But something else happened, Chris, that I didn't know, walking away, going home and trying to explain to my parents what happened to my pocket money. She was reminded of her son, the same age. And when he was in school and this and that, and it brought back memories because she was very angry with the son because he had married a woman that was a total bitch. And I can say bitch, right?
Sure.
Okay. Total bitch. And they had a fight and she found herself out of the house and she didn't want to come back. She had so much pride. Remember, this is the woman. Yeah. I'm not a beggar.
Yeah.
And she just left. And for about a year plus, she was on the streets in Singapore. Nobody knew where she was because she was from the East Coast side. But here she was in the north of the island near Sembawang and all that. And because of that, she missed her son. So she took the coins, in those days, 10 cents, I think, put it in the thing and called. And the son came and picked her up. And her timeline shifted from dying on the street out of some disease, pneumonia or something, to turning to become the best grandmother this child had ever had. So everything we do on the planet
has got an impact on someone's life.
Has got an impact on someone's lives, not negative or positive. Now, you may not see the impact, but it will happen. You give someone money and it changes their life. That's why this billionaire clown that didn't could have impacted so many lives and pushed forward humanity much faster. But he's going to see the impact it had on him. He's going to think his God is behind him and helping him, but it's not. It's something else. It's a very selfish thing. But here's the other thing as well. If you don't give and you hold back, well, guess what? The thing that could have changed, the timeline that could have changed, you will experience that as well. You will feel the suffering of the people you chose not to help.
So it's karmic.
Helping or not helping is a choice. Saying or not saying is a choice. Defending or not defending is a choice. Doing or not doing is a choice. All a choice. And it has impact and it has a consequence. And if you, please, for God's sake, believe me, consequence in that Hall of Memories is like an unlubricated dildo. It's going to hit you really hard. So pay attention to, if you can help someone, help wherever you can. If somebody asks you for anything, please, for God's sake, give. Don't hold back. And you'll be surprised. Give whatever you can. You don't have to give the whole house and everything else, but just give what you can. I think there's some teachings that teach that in some religions as well. Yes, of course. But this is the further impact, the quote unquote, the science behind it is that we all go to the same place. Doesn't matter who you are, black, white, green, yellow, brown, blue. We're all going to go to the same place. And that place, I don't know what you want to call it, the realm of masters, that's where we develop and become better and better and better from one life to the next life to the next life. So Earth is not a friendly place because people are living delusional thoughts about what they think is right. And people are killing each other over what they think is right. You're a child in the middle of a war-torn country, and that child dies as a result of your bullets and your bombs, you will feel that on the other side, no matter what your theology teaches you.
Doc, it's been a fantastic few hours.
Sorry.
It's about an hour ago. And I said it's been 2 hours. And I was like, another hour has gone by, but it's been riveting, man.
Yeah, that happened on my wedding night too.
What, that long, huh?
That's what she said at first.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Thanks, Doc, so much. Really, we've had wow, a great time with Dr. Mel Gill. I hope you guys have enjoyed. This is definitely going to be a 3-parter, right, Kai? Likely.
The guy said, you hear what he said? He said, I didn't record any of it.
Well, I hope you guys, please do enjoy this episode. Really.
Yeah.
It's going to be 2 or 3 chapters after we do post-production. I'm not sure how it's going to turn out yet. But it's been a great time, Doc. Really, it's been great seeing you again as well. Really, man.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too, man.
Good to see you.
And really, stay tuned on what's happening with Dr. Mel Gill. Take a look at the Dr. Mel Gill Foundation as well online. Check it out. Check out what he's doing. It's real great stuff that he's doing, man. I mean, to me,
understated. I'm not trying to attract too much attention, although that being said, 3 hours here. Holy crap.
Yeah. It's a lot has been said.
Yeah.
But
don't give out my phone number or email or address or anything.
No, I would not.
Yeah,
I'm governed by PDPA too, like most of us, all our citizens anyway.
I'm very happy in my little hidden corner of Singapore, so not being found.
But I will come to Varna to meet you for sure.
You will.
I will.
Yeah, there's a nice coffee shop near my house.
That's what I'm looking
here
forward
in
to.
Singapore as well.
Okay.
I'll invite you for coffee. We'll sit down and talk.
Then that's a date.
You got it.
Thanks, everyone. We are halfway through season 4. More to come. This is going to be one hell of a long season. Stay safe until the next time, okay? This is Chris Henson. Bye-bye.
Bye.